Hey there, and welcome. That title might have given you a little bit of a problem. It might have challenged you to think that no one has to struggle or suffer. But I'm going to have you think about it in a new way, especially today, because today is December 12th, 2025, and it could be the day that you give up struggling and suffering. Many of us might today. I'm Roger Burnley, if you have not met me before, and for 36 years I've been receiving guidance from Wilhelm. That is my guidance, my connection to that greater intelligence that we all have, what we listen to within our consciousness. Mine took on a little different role as yours did, but it's all purposeful. Even if you feel that you have been struggling so much recently or suffering, there was a plan there. You had a goal, you had a reason for doing that, which is why you're existing now. We all have it. It just unfolds at different times and within your evolutionary path. And today that's mine, which is why I can give you this information. We take on different roles as we live, and we may not know always what they are, but I will tell you I know that you have one, and that it's important, and it was meant to come about now. And so sometimes those struggles that we're moving through is just us attempting to get to that next level of who we are, embracing our authentic selves, because that's why we were born, each person. But when we are struggling, we might interpret it as being punishment or something of that nature, and it never is. It's just when we change our minds, then we can understand it in a greater way. And I can speak to that because that has been my entire life. I'm 75 now, so I do know the things that many have gone through, but I had a different role just as you do. And the more of us who remember that, things become quite different. What I'm going to do today is give you this presentation because I want you to understand Wilhelm's work. In the beginning, I didn't, and I couldn't own it. I couldn't become my authentic self, but also there's a reason for that. It wasn't supposed to happen until today. I thought I was late. I thought everything had gone wrong. I was completely a mess. I'd broken everything in my life. That's never true. And now you'll understand it as well, because that is the case for you. I'm going to show you a presentation and explain all of this because I do want you to walk away with a greater sense of who you are, and on today, that would be a really great thing to do. See, you'll start to understand that your energetic contribution, not only to your life but to the world, is really important. We don't always feel that we are that important or that we could make a difference, but you can. When I was a child, I had this great idea. I said, I want to do something that will change the world. And today, I did that. Going through everything that was challenging and difficult, but now this will be the legacy I leave, as you will do the same. We're all meant to do that. While we're on this earth, we're meant to do something that could cause our lives to become what they could and then contribute to others. And that's what you'll understand today as you leave this. And I'm so glad that you're here, that you're listening, whenever it might be. I'm saying that this is December 12th, but whenever you might hear this, you'll be surprised at how resonant it will be at that time, because you're always being guided somewhere, and we start to understand, and nothing's accidental in our universe. As individuals, as humans, we just understand more whenever we live, and each of us is meant to bring in that greater knowledge or wisdom as well. Again, that wonderful statement, no one has to struggle or suffer. I was given the solution, and now I'm ready to share it. Again, you may have ideas about yourself that you could not have believed as I did, but we all have them, and you might believe more of yours today. Discovering the solution. We do not have problems we can't overcome. The struggle is often a sign of resistance, not impossibility. As the world changes, so can we, by accepting who we are becoming rather than clinging to who we were. My intention is to share the solution I lived, offering a path to end the cycle of struggling. These are practical steps to access a life aligned with your true purpose. The human condition, and this is what we all deal with no matter who we are. We are all part of a continuous cycle of inheritance, creation, and evolution. We come into the world carrying memories, beliefs, and ideologies from those who came before us. This is our starting point, not our definition, and we have all felt that. We can look at our family and we know that we're meant to do or be somewhat different, and we might have fought against that. Evolution. Our generational purpose is to take what we have been given, improve upon it, and create something entirely new for the future. And the barrier. When we step into the new, we face the unknown. Fear arises, keeping us stuck and vulnerable to external control. And that is something that I've experienced my entire life, so I can speak from it, which is also why I wrote the book, Overcoming Fear, A Guide to Freedom. And that, again, was something that came through my understanding of Wilhelm. Regaining autonomy and energy, a shift in perspective, and that is really what we have. That's all we have, is a shift in our perspective, how we choose to see things, how we choose to view things. We reclaim our autonomy by consciously letting go of doubt, fear, judgment, and outdated ideologies that no longer serve us. Now, that may seem, talking about that and reading that line, it seems like that's unbelievable because we know that we faced all of those things. But then when you understand it's helping you to build who you are, it becomes a very different shift in your perspective. Frequency shift. As your sense of purpose returns, you start emitting a very different energy, both within your own life and out into the world. We may not think about energy as much, but we're learning more about it now and how important ours is and how it directs our lives, our thoughts, and what we achieve. And now we're learning how to just use it better. That's what happens as humanity evolves. Transformation. This energy shift brings clarity, self-trust, and aligned action. This is the mechanism by which true change occurs. You may have felt, especially in the last several years, that this was too much. And that's because you wanted it. That's because you wanted to become more. You wanted to become your greatest self. And that I do know. I have done that, and that is how things change. The restructuring. This is what we're moving through, all of us. Now, we do this at different times. We happen to be in a period now where everyone has felt it. We are each here to channel something new, to access it. We must restructure our internal world. Many of us are always looking outside to try to fix something, and I did that for so long. Give me some validation, give me some understanding, and then you come to recognize it's within. Recognize identity, identify the inherited beliefs and ideologies you carry that are not truly yours. See them as separate from your essence. Then release. Let go of doubts, fears, and judgments. These old patterns block the new energy trying to emerge through you. Then allow. Create space for your unique gifts to surface. Trust the process of becoming something you haven't seen before. Contribute. By doing this work individually, we shift the collective. Your personal restructuring changes the world. Those words may not make sense to you as they didn't to me when I started receiving them. Because this is what came through in 2020 when we started seeing our world shifting. And then Wilhelm says to me, the more you know, the less you understand. And I didn't understand what that meant. But that was saying that we have to be willing to accept new ideas if we hope to become the new people we're meant to be or to shift our world. But sometimes we get stuck in those old beliefs, as I did, because we're a little afraid of being shown or being seen. Then, the collective shift. That's today. Now, you may think that this date doesn't mean anything, but we have come to understand, and we've studied this from ancient times, that there are energies that are connected because of our shifts in planets and all of that affect us individually, affect our world, and we see it in different ways. We don't always think that our essence is causing that to occur. But that is, again, you becoming more empowered so that you recognize your importance. And then you will feel it. On this date, we cross a threshold. You may feel differently as old energies restructure into something new. Recognize more of your innate gifts. Gain clarity on your true purpose. Access a new dimension of life without struggle. No one has to struggle or suffer. And that message would come through so many times, and I thought that's not true. Until it shifted, and it will shift for you as well. Because again, when we change our perspective about what we have moved through, what we come to understand about ourselves, our lives change. And it's been so documented through Wilhelm's work, and that's what you'll see as well. Now, this is what is happening. The restructuring is an ongoing process. Choose a resource below to deepen your understanding and access your gifts. The message today, you will recognize more of your gifts. You will see that on there, but there's so many on the site, Any Advice for Today, that you will understand. And there's yesterday there was one for the spiral, to understand that we're always moving in different directions in ourselves and within our world. This is how we evolve and how the world evolves. But the choice that you make is the one that's the most important. We can develop different gifts. And that explanation is on YouTube. And you'll have that. Because I struggled with accepting this information coming through. I didn't want to tell anyone. I didn't know what it was because it had never been done before. You have never been done before. We each come into the world to do something new, but going into it is that unknown that we may block. And there's a little podcast that we will have the link. It's just a little explanation. I've created several of those because that's what I wanted so many to understand, because I didn't. What I'm saying is that we each will learn something new about ourselves that we're meant to then give to the world. And sometimes that can be challenging. What happened was, receiving this information, it revealed a pattern. And that's what I'm showing you now. You have a pattern. Your birth chart, when you were born, it had energies connected to it, and they get activated as you live and as the world changes. And so today, this is activating my chart. I put in my birth chart information. I have never studied astrology, by the way. I didn't look at any of that, and I loved it. It's interesting. But then I started to understand there was a reason for it, and that you will understand your chart has a reason, even if you don't study the astrology, the energetic things and what you're moving through. We have all studied and we've seen even if, looked at astrology readings and say, wow, that does feel like me. That's what we come to understand. So for me today, these are what I'm supposed to embody. And it was so bizarre to see it, because I thought I was supposed to be someone else all along. I'm a double Scorpio, by the way, and that if you know about that, that's about transformation. We are about death and rebirth, and I've done that so many times in my life. And the Revolutionary, and that's where we are right now, and I have definitely been that, where everybody told me I was out of my mind. I shouldn't be doing this. But now I'm going to be public. We've moved into a new dimension, Pluto conjunct midheaven, and Pluto is a very important planet at this time in our world, especially in the United States, and more of us will come to understand that. But now it's moving in a different direction. And they're moving from analysis to trust. That's where I am now. Because see, I've been doing analysis for the longest time and proving things, and now I've got to trust it and step out just as you do. And this is kind of the pattern they gave on this date, this one date, December 12th. Realizing happiness is a choice. That's for each of us. If we can choose ourselves, we will become happy. And then your choices shift the collective. That's what we had a couple of years ago, but it takes a while for us to embody that. And then moving from seeking to being. We all do the same thing. But today, this is mine, and I'm going to be the living example because I am. When I received this information, I didn't know what it was supposed to do, but it's caused healing throughout my entire life from things that were just completely unbelievable. But that is the information that I'm able to give to others. And as I accept that, then all the pain that I went through, all the difficulties, all the hospital stays, all the things don't matter as much because I now understand the purpose. My chart shows what's possible when you stop arguing with who you are. And I argued with who I was, didn't want to tell anyone, and then it turns out to be the thing that I'm meant to do in this world, which will be the same for you. No one has to struggle or suffer. The map has been drawn. Now it's up to you to walk it. And what that means is that we always make that decision no matter who we are or when that might happen. And you might do that today. What I'm going to do is give you some other things that you will see and understand because I am moving into embodying it. Because I do know that no one has to struggle or suffer. And as I can say that now, I look at my life and all the suffering and all the struggling and all the doubts and criticism and all of that become worth it. Because now I can give you something that you never have to go through that. Now you will not ease through your life, but you will navigate it better. What we're meant to do is to figure out better ways of living for ourselves so that we can give to others. And it has to come through our lives. I judged every aspect of it, but there was one message that Wilhelm gave us in 2012, and that was the one I couldn't live until now. It said, your story is valuable and purposeful. And it said everything that you have moved through has been valuable and purposeful. And your only problem will be when you try to deny it, when you try to pretend that it didn't happen or put it away and not acknowledge it. Because they said you're refusing to gain the wisdom and knowledge that your story has brought to the world. And that's what it is. Enjoy this. Please look at the work now. I wanted so many people to understand this work, and you will through this. And I'll give you a few other documents because we start to understand there's an organization. And what was developed through Wilhelm's work, they gave me 17 years consistently, every single day, of information that was aligned, that was about self-mastery, empowerment, and coming to own who you are, because it's a spiral. You do it over time, not instantly. And so when we understand that we can take every day and do that, then your life changes. So that is why no one has to struggle or suffer. And I do know that is true. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you real soon.